Yes. What's good?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Blessed.
Don't come and start doing media. Just because the camera's on there.
No, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. Grateful to be happy, healthy. I'm good, man.
Okay. Yo, Counter Attack Podcast with myself, Daps. Guys, keep liking, subscribing, sharing, all of that good stuff. I forgot who the last guest was on, forgive me, but we're back with another one. Keep the engagement going. As you can see, little injury here, but you know, I still put the content out for you guys, man. And if you know what I've had to do to put this content out for you guys, it's not easy. But yeah, I've got a guest with me today who is a South London native. I can call you that, right? You still rep South, or you now like more?
Yeah, I'm still always Greenwich, born and bred Greenwich. So
I thought you was a northerner.
Nah.
Okay,
Definitely
cool,
not.
cool.
Definitely not.
So a player that whose career I've actually like known about for a long time. I think I don't know why. Like, I think it's because you're from. But you know what's mad? Anyway, let me. I'll get into that. But yeah, guys, we got Jordan Cousins. It's funny because I've always said JP Cousins.
Why? I don't know why. I think because all of like, well, not that I have Twitter anymore, but all my socials it would be like JP Cousins. Yeah. All of the, like, or even like, I don't know, anything would just be JP Cousins. Because usually if I put J Cousins in, it won't be like someone else has got it. But JP Cousins, no one else would have it.
I remember Nick said, "Oh, I'm going to cut Jordan."
Yeah.
I was like, you know Jordan. I'm like, you know Jordan.
Yeah.
He's like Cousins. I was like, oh, JP Cousins. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Because my middle name's Paul, innit? So JP Cousins, it just rings, yeah.
So guys, we've got JP. We got Jordan Cousins here with us. We're just gonna have a normal chit chat. You know how we do, man. So yeah, man. What's good, man? What's popping?
Nothing much, man. Like I said, grateful to be here, blessed. Looking forward to having a nice open chat with you.
Good. There's not gonna be nothing nice about this. But now, what I do want to start by saying is, you're healthy.
Yeah, I'm literally just coming back from a quad injury. So I'll probably be back playing in the next 3 weeks, which is I've had my fair share of injuries. So I feel like as you get older, you have like the 24 hours to kind of mull on, like be depressed and all of that kind of stuff. But then you just kind of just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? There's bigger things when you start to look at what I say to people, when you look at like the grateful side of things, like look at what you have and what you've kind of achieved, then you kind of just get on with it and get stuck into the rehab.
But when you start talking about that, we're just going to start there. Since we're here, yeah. Like a lot of the time, I think people might feel that when players are injured, they don't really care because how can I put this? Even me, I used to think that certain players. This was before I had my leg break. I used to feel like you're comfortable, like you got your contract there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you might be injured, but,
yeah.
You know, you'll be fine. Do you get what I'm saying? But how much does being injured actually affect you as a player? Even though you know that it's not going to be the end of career and stuff like that.
It's tough because you got to think like as footballers, we're used to like routine. We're used to doing a certain thing every day, going out there training, and then all of a sudden one day that just stops. Do you know what I mean? And the routine is thrown out, and it's something you like I said, you'll sit there. All your teammates are going outside to train, and you're sitting there having to do like gym work, upper body sessions. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes like in my worst injuries, having operations. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're sitting at home. You can't do stuff for yourself. You're asking family members to do things like even things as put on your socks, helping you put on your boxes and stuff like that. Like you're going from being a person that's like quite strong and I'll provide, I'll do X and Y to like, I can't even put on my socks. I can't even put on my shoes. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite a change on the mind. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, people from the outside don't see that side of things. And I don't think you probably fully understand how that will feel like until you're in that kind of situation. Not even being a footballer, but just in life, having like a serious injury or having an operation and then realizing, oh, I can't do the little things. This is why I say things like being grateful is important. just for health, just for being able to walk and do certain things. Because as soon as that's stripped away from you, it's like, phew, I used to take that for granted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Trust me.
Do you know what I mean? So, no, going back to your question, like I said, you don't really know until you've obviously been in that situation, I think.
And not to say it gets easier with, as you get more injuries, because we don't want the injuries, obviously.
Of course.
But like, because you've been injured and you've had certain injuries, are you able to just, now when an injury comes, you're able to just be more relaxed about it? Because because you know your body as well. How you're feeling.
I think that's a good. When you said when you get to know your body, I think when you're younger, I think it's like you're more like more. It takes more of a mental toll on your body. Whereas when you're older and you're able to reflect, I feel like I know my body now a lot more. Per se, if I wasn't injured, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like every time that I may pick up an injury, I feel like, okay, I know I'm in tune with my body, so I know how to get my body. I feel like every time I do pick up something, I do something different in the rehab that makes me better, whether that be as a person or physically. Do you know what I mean? I feel like when I've like created businesses and gone into property and things like that, it's always happened in a time where something like an injury has happened. So, where I probably would be concentrating on a game, I always feel like subconsciously I need to be focusing on something. So when I've had like 3-4 month injuries, I've maybe gone out and invested in a property or tried to start up a business or something like that. So, and I think it's not coincidence. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like I always need to be preoccupied and doing something constructive, which I think is a good trait.
What's your worst injury?
My worst injury is probably the rupture of my left quad. Yeah, rupture.
So rupture, is that just like
off the bone, clean, gone?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So it's not even just like a little tear. It's
nah, that's gone, like ping from the attachment of your pelvis. The tendon goes.
Do you remember? Is that like something like when people's hamstring just go?
Yeah.
Is it like split second like that?
Yeah. So it's a big like clunk. So basically, when I'd done this, I was at QPR and I think we was under Ian Holloway at the time, and we was doing like. We done quite like a shooting practice quite early into training, and it was like left and right foot. So you beat a mannequin, take a touch and shoot. So I'd done the first one with my left foot, and I hit a shot clean with my left foot, really clean. And I'm not known for my shooting, and I hit it quite clean with my left foot. And then I tried to do it again, and then I hit it, and I felt a big clunk in like my hip. And I was thinking, it wasn't too painful. It just felt like something had like, maybe like it clicked. When your hip clicks sometimes. But then I thought, no, this doesn't feel right. So I tried to do like a certain stretch, and I was like, whoa, this definitely doesn't feel right. So I went inside, saw the physios and whatever, and they just thought I might have just torn my quad or something. Because when you rupture your tendon, the nerves go with it. Hence why I wasn't feeling too painful. But I got a scan. And no, to be fair, they thought it was a quad. So for about 7 to 10 days, I was not rehabbing. I was just doing the things as you would if it was a quad injury. But it just wasn't getting better. So finally went for a scan, and then they told me that I'd ruptured my quad and I'd need an operation. And I was like, wow, like this is the first time. I've never really had this kind of, been in this kind of situation. And then, I had to have an operation. I think maybe it was quite soon, probably about 2, 3, 4 days later, I had an operation, and it was just kind of all kind of surreal. Do you know what I mean?
It's mad though, because like you always feel like, is your body going to be the same after? Because I remember I never used to get injured until I broke my leg. When I broke my leg, come back, I started getting to putting a little bit of weight. That's when the injury started. Yeah. So apart from this one and leg break, apart from the last 3-4 years, I've only had like the little niggling ones. But my hamstring went one time, and I think it's about 4 years ago now. And I've never had a hamstring go before. Have you had a hamstring go?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Listen, it was mid-match, and it felt like I remember the ball's on the other end of the pitch. I'm defense. The ball's on the other end of the pitch, and we're going up. Yeah. And I just felt it was just someone dashed something in my in my hand. I was like, yo, who dashed that?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, whatever. I took 2 steps.
Yeah.
I said, yo.
Yeah.
And I knew straight away.
That's it.
Yeah. But I don't wish them injuries.
Yeah. That's what they say on the TV all the time. Like when someone's running and they pull up like that, the commentators know, especially the ones that's played, they know that that's the end of his game. Do you know what I mean?
When I see people trying to stretch, I'm like,
it's not it. And you know what? Yeah, like I said, when I was younger, them kind of ones, when you get them hamstring injuries, by trying to run after it, you're probably turning that grade 1 into a grade 2. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know if there's any younger players, when you do feel that certain pain, just stop. Don't even try and sprint because you can make it even worse if that makes sense. So I wouldn't wish them injuries upon anyone.
The last bit on injuries is that this is just a random thing I always think about. So you see how you've had however many injuries. How many injuries have you had?
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot. A lot. I've lost count, but quite a few to be honest. Yeah.
And even when I talk about a double fracture of my foot or breaking my tib and fib, normal people don't have injuries like that. Like when you think that everyday people, if they get an injury, like if they rupture their thingy, it's like a big deal. Because I've seen if my hamstring goes, it doesn't change anything. I'm injured, but my everyday life continues. But normal people, when they get those injuries, it's like crutches and because they just don't get those injuries. So it's just funny to see how like people literally put their bodies on the line for
I think it's because as athletes, as professional footballers, we're always looking for the 1%. Do you know what I mean? And we're always pushing our body to the limit. Do you know what I mean? We're always like, well, me personally, I'm always trying to, if I'm doing the gym, I'm thinking, okay, whereas this is why I say this is like the fine difference between like people that want to make it and don't want to make it is, when you're tired, the people that probably don't make it are the ones that are saying, okay, cool, I've done enough. Whereas the ones that go and be a success are the ones that, you know what, I'm tired, but I'm going to push through this because this is going to take me to the next level. So that's what I think the main difference is compared to like, obviously athletes. Yes, we push ourselves, sometimes hinder ourselves by pushing ourselves too much, but I don't think you can take that out of.
Do you think that's still there though? Because I wasn't a player that was in academies. Like you were in Charlton Academy, right?
Yeah, I joined quite late though, so I think I joined at like 11, 12.
Imagine you're saying that's late.
Yeah, to me that was late because
people that have been there since
6, 7, 8. Because when I joined that academy system, I was very raw. I didn't even own a pair of AstroTurfs. I had to borrow my uncle's.
Yeah,
imagine. I got a funny. Let me tell you the funny story. Right. So imagine the academy system, right? I was so raw that I turned up to Charlton's academy. First of all, I didn't have AstroTurfs. I only had studs. So for my first session, I had to train in studs, and then I also came with Arsenal had the yellow and purple O2 kit, like Reyes and all of that. I had that top on in the Charlton Academy with JC number 9 on the back. This is how raw I was. So the academy manager, Steve Avery, who like I owe him so much for the way he molded me as a player and a person. He just like kindly put me to the side and said, Jordan, next time you come, just come in something something listen like a normal Nike like top or something, because I didn't know. I was coming from playing like in the army barracks in Woolwich Youth with my friends and enjoying to like into a serious academy environment. So yeah, that's a funny one.
Yeah, but I didn't have any of that. So I'm saying this just because you speak about like that 1% and not giving up and whatever, because when I got signed, I was 21. So I was playing like non-league, and I was playing for St Albans at the time. But I'd been training with for the last couple of years, Jamie Lawrence.
Yeah.
So when you train with that mentality, where it's just like, no, don't cut corners, you stop before the line, everyone has to go again and whatever. It just gives you a different kind of grit. But do you still think now, or do you think now that the younger players have that, that extra bit needed? Because I look at some players sometimes, like even some that I know, like the younger ones, they're bothered, they're definitely bothered, but it's just a different level of comfort and knowing that I'm probably going to be okay anyway.
Do you think we were hungrier back in our day?
We were hungrier.
Yeah, but I think you have to blame that on societal things, not just the person. Just everything's easier. Everything's accessible nowadays. Do you know what I mean? So it's a lot easier to get complacent. Do you know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like a load of them, and it's not anything against, because it's not their fault, like you said, but they've got the big contracts already. They're playing in decency. They've got the massive followings already. It's almost like they've made it already.
Yeah, no. I get what you're saying. But like I said, it's pros and cons because, like I said, we probably didn't have to, or I certainly when I was younger didn't have to deal with that side of things. But they have to deal with that side of things and navigate it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we might not have been getting the amount of money that they're getting now, but we didn't have to deal with half the things they're dealing with. Like I said, societal things, keeping up with social media stuff. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, but then again, there's a bag of the youngsters out there which people go out and say, oh, they're earning too much money and things like that, but it's not their fault. They're talented. Do you know what I mean? So people are going to pay for the talent that they see. So it's a hard one. Do you know what I mean? Because I always try and I like talking to like younger players and things like that because there are a lot of talented younger players out there. And I think a lot of people have talent, but I think it's the other side. When you can match talent with hard work, you can do anything.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Because
for me, it's like I wouldn't say I was the most talented when I was younger. Like I said, I went into the Charlton Academy very raw. Do you know what I mean? But the hard work, that was unquestionable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then when I molded that together with the talent, then obviously things flourished.
Yeah, MK, my boy, the one I was talking about earlier, he always says hard work beats talent when talent doesn't
work hard. Yeah.
And when he said that to me, I was like, you know what? That's
it's
so
true.
Because
it's true.
I say the same thing about myself. Listen, I can't do 200 kick-ups. Well, I probably could, but do I want to?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I was never the most, like, ability-wise, and I might be putting myself down because I couldn't obviously play. But, you know, when you look at players, you're like, oh, what a player.
Yeah.
That wasn't me when I was younger. But I worked hard.
Yeah. Probably the same as me as well, to be honest.
I worked hard and my attitude was right. Do you get what I'm saying? And that attitude one, actually speaking about that, how big is that of a thing or has been a thing in your career? And because I feel as if a load of opportunities might come because someone just has good attitude sometimes.
100%. But that's not just in football. I think that's in life. That's in life because no one in a business sense or in a football sense, no manager, no chairman, nobody in a high position wants a bad egg. Do you know what I mean? Like you might not have the correct tools at that time, but if you have the correct attitude, then there's always a chance. Do you know what I mean? Whereas even when we put into a football sense now, you could have the talent and a manager could see, okay, he's got the talent, he's probably going to improve my team. But if his attitude is not there and it's not going to mix with the culture, as a lot of businesses and teams talk about the culture these days, then he'd rather not have him. He'd rather have someone that maybe have a bit less talent, but has a great attitude and that there's room for improvement.
Exactly.
So I think attitude is a massive thing, especially in this day and age, because like I said, no manager, well, especially the managers I've played under, want bad eggs. Some managers like that kind of personality and they say, you know what, like I can manage him. Do you know what I mean? But definitely like attitude's a big thing. And especially I think it's because for me personally, attitude wise, it was such a big opportunity for me. Do you know what I mean? I went from, like I said, playing in the park on a Saturday to then going to training like 3, 4, 5 times a week with the best players in my age in the country. Do you know what I mean? Traveling here, there and everywhere. So I was like, I can't take this opportunity for granted. Mate, do you know what I mean?
It's good that you took that opportunity though, because I remember when I was younger in school and I was always like the best in my year. And stuff like that. That was normal. Do you know what I mean? But then I remember I had a scout come and I was playing in like the London Cup for schools or whatever, and a Charlton scout came, and I went from being best in the school, and when I went on that trial with Charlton,
humbled you,
folded. Yeah, because it's a different level of everything. It's totally out of your comfort zone, and nothing can prepare you for that. Yeah, there's nothing that can prepare you for that. At schools, like you're playing, like you said, you was playing in the park. Now you're going to like training 5 times a week, and I remember just even like the speed of things was just
everything's the decision making, everything's different, everything's high quality. That's what I'm saying. I felt like I was lost a bit when I first, because it was a 6-week trial, but for the first 2 weeks, I was just took me time to adjust. And then once I got the hang of things and they could see that, listen, he's going to work hard and he's going to improve. That's why on like the 6th week when I played the game on a Sunday, they offered me a contract. And I'll never forget the moment they kind of offered me that contract. You know what I mean? That's probably one of the highlights of my life, because that's when the journey started. When it came to academy, you didn't have to feel that them kind of trialist nerves. You know what I mean? I was part of the team. So yeah, it's definitely it's daunting. I think even when trialists come in at the first team level, and that's happening a lot more now. Like you get free agents coming in, and I just think like it's daunting. You're a professional player. You've been a experienced professional player, and you're coming into a new environment. It's the same kind of feeling. So imagine if it's hard for a grown adult than being like a 11, 12-year-old child. You know what I mean? So, but these, like I said, these things, these are experience that, like I said, can only make you grow. Do you know what I mean? Can only make you stronger. So
yeah, no, I hear that. And on like now up to date, you obviously joined Cambridge, League One. I'm going to ask you a question about League One, and your mentality going into that. But before we get there, like, how did that move come about? Because obviously you were at Wigan.
So I was at Wigan. My contract ended at Wigan, and you know what? It was a weird situation, because throughout my whole career I've always signed for a club before the first day of pre-season.
Okay.
But this one was this summer was different. It was just like the phone. Would I say the phone wasn't ringing? There was clubs interested, but whereas before I'd have like contracts on the table and offers and stuff like that, that wasn't really the case this year. So it got to a stage where I was training on my own, and then obviously like players started to go back. Obviously, like, I don't know, 1st of July, whatever the date was, people started to go back, and the phone started to ring. Do you know what I mean? There started to be some bits of interest. So I was like, my agent, obviously they've been in that situation quite a few times. They're like, just be patient, just wait. But I was like, I've never been in this position before. Do you know what I mean? So I'm having to, like, again, this probably comes down to my attitude. I'm having to, like, okay, I'm training at a certain facility in the summer with all of my football friends, and they've all gone back to football. But I'm now finding myself having to get up in the morning and go to the track on my own.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm having to do things on my own, and I'm thinking like, wow, it's proper hitting me home. Like, and you see, like, subconsciously, you see things. You look on like Instagram, and you see your friends, your teammates, they're posting like first day at pre-season, and I'm like, whew, like, as much as like I try not to be influenced by that kind of things, it's impossible. You just are. Do you know what I mean? Naturally, you are. So I'm thinking, okay, like, what's going? You might text your agent, being like, what's, like, is there anything? Do you know what I mean? But it was that for a few days, and then
I said days, you know the way you just mentioned that story, you think that it was going on for
no. But so obviously, I say it probably was about, I say days. It was probably like about a week, and then obviously Cambridge came in. I knew there was interest from Cambridge, and then I feel as I've got older, at Wigan and at Cambridge, I've always wanted to not just, because you can pick up the phone and you can speak to managers.
Yeah,
I'm always a guy that wants to see someone face to face. So as them negotiations were going on, it got to a point where the contract was close to where it needed to be. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make the effort to travel hour and a half, couple hours to Cambridge to meet the manager, to meet the director of football, because I don't know too much about the facilities. I don't know too much about the manager. I don't know too much about the club in general. So I took it out of my time one Monday to drive up there and to meet the manager. And I'm a kind of person where it doesn't take long for me to know whether it's going to be right or wrong. You get what I'm saying?
At the point when you were driving up there, was it just interest, or did you actually know that?
No, there was not. There was discussing numbers, like a first contract offer had been offered,
but they definitely wanted,
and we was negotiating. Yeah, it was solid. It was solid, because I'm not gonna go up there and like not waste my time if it wasn't solid interest. You know what I mean? It's not. Definitely not that. So, like I said, we had a meeting with Bonds, the manager, and the chief executive, the sporting director, Ben, with a few coaches that I had worked with previously who was at Wigan, who was now at Cambridge, and I just got the vibe was there. Do you know what I mean? I think it's important for any player to know that you're wanted and feel wanted, and I definitely felt wanted. Do you know what I mean? So, no, I knew it was right. Do you know what I mean?
And I ask about you joining that team because you've always played championship level?
Apart from the first season at Wigan, we played in League One
Okay,
and then
League
got
One.
promoted.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
But most of your career has been
yeah.
championship. So now going down to League One,
Mm-hmm.
do you look at it like, how can I put this in a way? Like some people might look outside of football. I don't know.
Yeah.
Outside of football,
Yeah.
I think, he's on a decline.
Yeah.
He's on a decline.
Yeah.
Does that come into your thinking when you're like, but then you just have to.
For me personally, no. For other people, I can see how it could affect them. But I'm a kind of person, like I said, am I 29 now? If it was maybe if I was 22, 23, I may have thought a lot differently. But I know my reasonings for being at the club. Do you know what I mean? And I know it's a lot deeper than football itself. Do you know what I mean? It's more about family, about happiness, about being in a good place, in a good environment. So there's obviously people only see it from a footballing side of things, but I see it from a family, happiness, a different side of things. You know what I mean? So it's never where I think I'm going to be drawn to, headlines or things that are in the media and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, if I was younger, I'd probably read a bit more into that. But I'm at a stage in my life now where I don't really, do you know what I mean? I don't really look at the daily news.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like, I just kind of, if someone comes and tells me, it's like, okay, cool. Everybody's entitled to their opinion and I move on. It doesn't really affect me
and
like that.
Sorry. No, I thought you were free to go.
No.
So when you talk about, like now it's about family, it's about peace or whatever. When did that shift happen? Like, because I don't think it's just a job, because obviously you still love football, right?
100%. 100%.
You still love football. So
100%.
But when did that shift like happen where it goes from just playing football, blah blah blah? Like if someone in Scotland offered you, however, you just go to Scotland. Like you went to Stoke.
Yeah.
But like, at what point does it become a thing of, nah, do you know what? It's not just about football anymore.
I think when you have children, and I was away from home and my family and my loved ones for like 4 years. And don't get me wrong, like I was grateful for the 4 years that I was away. I had good contracts, like earned a lot of money compared to obviously what I grew up knowing what money was about. So I felt like it was a time where I'd kind of made that sacrifice of being away from my friends and my family. Like I missed Christmases, I missed birthdays. Do you know what I mean? With my family, my cousins, like, do you know what I mean? And I know in life, if you want to get to places, you have to make sacrifices. But for me, it was starting to affect my happiness. Do you know what I mean? For the last 18 months to a year, I was up there away from my child. And it was like, is this life? Do you know what I mean? Coming back from football, staying in the house on your own, and I'm having to FaceTime my child. Do you know what I mean? My child's having to drive up 5 hours in a car. Like people will know, watching like a 6 month year old or a 1 year old traveling up 5 hours is a journey. Do you know what I mean? So it came to a point where I just had to make a decision. Like, and me, I know that if I'm happy, the football will do its talking.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you could throw as much money as you want, right, at somebody, but if they're not happy, then it's not going to show in the football. So I was just at that time in my career and my life in general, in my headspace, where I was like, I need to be back down south. And hence why I said to you just a few moments ago that I told my agent before the summer started, you have to find me a club that is in this geographical radius to London, because I need to be close to my family. Hence why, like you said before, the outside people wouldn't even know. Like there was interest from clubs outside of that radius.
Okay, yeah.
Do you understand?
So it's making sense.
Do you understand? But it was like, I feel like I'm in a stage in my life, and I'm quite blessed, and I'm lucky to have the people around me to have made the right financial decisions in my life, that I don't really have to chase the bag, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's where that kind of goes full circle and kind of come out to making that decision.
That's good that you say that, because like you said, people would probably just look at it and think that's all he could get.
That's how people see it from the outside.
Yeah,
This is what I'm saying. Like I said, they're entitled to their opinion, but until I obviously and I don't feel like someone could say that, and I wouldn't feel like I need to explain it to them. You know what I mean? You're entitled to your opinion. That's up to you. Do you know what I mean? But if you're gonna ask me a question, and then I'm happy to explain to you why, and then maybe you might have a different perspective. But either way, it's just it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Oh no, that's decent. And speaking about Cambridge again, obviously we're talking about League One and stuff like that, but you guys could end up in Championship anyway.
Yeah, Like I said, it's early, but like I said, just being there, like I've been there. Unfortunately, I've been out for a few weeks, but just the vibe that I get, the culture that they're building there. I don't want to speak too far into the distance, but I believe that if we just keep our heads down and do what we need to do, and just kind of, because no one's expecting it from us. Let's be real. But I've been in winning change rooms that have been promoted from League One, so our first time probably knows what it takes to get there. And to me personally, I don't think we're too far off if we just keep our heads down and be consistent and don't worry about the outside noise, if that makes sense. So I think if we just continue to do what we do, take it game by game. And when I say that, I mean in terms of the squad as well. Like our squad is very tight knit. Do you know what I mean? You know, you could sometimes, I've been in squads where it's all about, people are all about themselves. I don't get that feeling with Cambridge. Do you know what I mean? Everyone wants to win on a Saturday because we know that we can probably achieve something together. So hopefully that can continue. But yeah, we're very early into the season.
Do you feel, and this is me off the cuff, just assuming what I'm about to say, but I would think that because you are a player who has played most of the time in Championship, for those who watch football, like household name when it comes to Championship football and everything, you would be a big player for them. Do you feel any of that pressure at all?
Not really. Not really. Like I said, if I was younger, probably, but not really, because as I said, to be fair, in the interview when I signed, I think it's not just about Jordan Cousins on the pitch. It's definitely about Jordan Cousins off the pitch. Do you know what I mean? So anything I can do, whether that's just how calm I am and around the place, even me doing my rehab now, like when I'm in the gym and that, I know young players are probably looking at me, looking at what I'm doing. So I need to make sure that I'm doing things correctly, because I know it rubs off on players, as I used to look at the elder professionals when I was younger. So no, listen, it is what it is. Like I said, to me, I'm just Jordan. Do you know what I mean? People, like you said, you'd label me as this household name or whatever, but I just still see myself as Jordan from Greenwich. You know what I mean? So it's just, like I said, I just try and keep level headed and just carry on and do what I can do.
Love that. So we're gonna start flying through some of these topics. So first one I got for you, Charlton. You obviously grew up around the area, played for them. Would you have left them if they didn't get relegated?
Probably not. No. Probably not. No. Because I wouldn't have. I don't think I would have, because I loved being there. Like, it was 5 minutes from my mum's house. It was 25 minutes from where I bought my first apartment. It was like, it was perfect. I loved the place. I loved the fans. It was home. Do you know what I mean? And I still, to today, I always look at their scores and check out what they're doing and things like that. So no, I wouldn't have. But I knew at that time it was the right time to leave, because obviously I didn't want to go down to League One and play football. And I felt like, for the sake of my football career, I had to move. Do you know what I mean? I had to move because, like I said, there's a lot of things there going on with the owners and stuff at the time.
I feel like there's always something.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. Like, I remember back in that last season I was there, like, we had a few games on Sky and there was like fans were protesting and throwing stuff on the pitch and stuff. It was getting really bad. Do you know what I mean? So I just felt like it was the right time to leave. And to be honest, I think because of the state the club was in, I was probably doing them a favour. I was probably there was a few assets in the squad, but I was one of the assets that could probably get them some money that would help them as well, which people probably wouldn't think of, do you know what I mean, at the time. But it was just definitely time for me to try something new and experience something new.
You played with Lau, right?
Lyle Taylor, no.
Oh, you didn't play with Lyle Taylor?
Lyle Taylor was, I believe, maybe a year or two after me, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe,
you're
yeah.
flipping out. It was
Yeah.
quite a while back then.
Yeah, I've been playing now. This is my 11th season. So yeah,
That is wild.
Yeah, I've been
I
playing.
just assumed that it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, I've been playing.
Wow.
I'm playing. I've played against him before.
Mm.
I know of him, but no, I never played with him. No.
Yeah, that was my guy, man.
Yeah.
That's my guy. I was hoping you'd give me some just on that guy. But,
Yeah. Nah.
So,
I don't know him that well.
So then going to QPR. Did you enjoy your time at QPR?
Yeah, it was good. It was good, but again, it was a time where I feel like there's a lot of, I don't know, in my career, I just feel like I had a loads of change of managers.
Yeah.
Because like when I signed, so Chris Powell at Charlton, who again, great guy, great guy, and probably the best type of character and person I could have had at that time in my career going into the first team.
What about you?
Jason Yule, I think Yuli was he part of the coaching staff at that time? I'm not sure if he was. I think he was still with the younger age, but again, I saw Yuli probably about 6 months ago because he's now at the coaching staff at Bristol. Again, great guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Great people. But when Pauli was in, I don't think he gave me my debut, and then maybe about 3-4 months later he lost his job. Do you know what I mean? And then Jimmy Floyd time at QPR, 3, 4, 5 months later, new manager was in. Do you know what I mean? At QPR I had 3 managers, so it was like it was just a bit of a topsy-turvy time, but a time where like I just felt like I learned so much. Do you know what I mean? I feel like in life in general, you learn more through not through your failures, but you learn through times of adversity than you do success. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like there was times where where if it happens now, like if a manager loses his job, now I feel like whereas certain players might get a bit anxious or nervous, like I see it as you got to go again. You got to impress another manager because of you've been there. Do you know what I mean?
Me, boy.
Yeah.
If I was in good with a manager, especially because I always felt like I had like imposter syndrome, like where I shouldn't be here. Like, I felt like that for a long time. But if a new manager comes in, I used to be like, he's just gonna, especially at non-league level, because they just bring in all their players.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, oh my gosh, like, but I don't get that anymore.
Yeah. I think you get to a certain stage of life and you go through certain experiences and you have some sort of like I said, personal growth where you just like, you don't worry about that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? You know yourself more.
Yeah. Has there been a manager that's gone, that you played under that's been like sacked or whatever? That, okay, which one is the one that really not bothered you, but it's like, oh, that's a bit unlucky?
I think Chris Powell, because of it was personal. Do you know what I mean? This guy gave me the opportunity to express myself. He gave me the opportunity. He gave me the key to open the door to the rest for everyone else to see me. Do you know what I mean? So, and I felt like I said, I think the first season, I think like played 45, like a lot of games. Do you know what I mean? And he gave me, like I said, he gave me the chance. Do you know what I mean? I think in life you always need that one person to have faith in you and give me a chance, and he was that guy for me. So yeah, I think that one, and I think that hit not just me. I think that because he was a Charlton legend, I think that hit home with everyone. Do you know what I mean? So that's definitely one that probably, if I could pick one, it would be that one. There were other managers that left where I had a personal like relationship with and a personal touch with, i.e. like Nathan Jones at Stoke, because like I said, he was the person that coached me before I went into the first team at Charlton. So there was a personal one there, but yeah, definitely Pauli was one that was tough to take.
Could you see the qualities of Nathan Jones? Like, so obviously he's managed in the Premier League, albeit a short stint. But you know what I don't like about that, actually?
Go on.
No, because he's obviously got enough about him to get to that level.
Yeah, 100%.
That move or that time there, people look at that and be like, no, that's him. He's not a good manager. When really and truly, a lot of the time, if you give managers the time, if you give them the resources, like you will see a different side,
100%.
different side of things. But
100%.
so that's why it bothers me. I'm always you know, I'm always quick to like defend.
Yeah.
There's some managers which are just like awful. Like,
Yeah.
I can't defend Lampard at Everton and stuff like
Okay,
that. I'm
cool.
not gonna do that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
sit and say you're rubbish, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That was just a bad.
Yeah,
is he a
yeah.
rubbish manager?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
that weren't good.
Fair enough.
There was one time where, and people always get onto me when I talk about this one. Frank de Boer at Palace.
Okay.
I felt like that one was harsh. I felt like Vieira was harsh.
Harsh in terms of the harsh to sack him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like give it time.
Yeah.
Vieira at Crystal Palace.
We're in a results business.
But this is the thing.
Yeah,
it's a results business, and you know we've seen. So if you look at like Arteta, there's times where Arteta's in the beginning was a bit where people thought he could get the sack, and then you're giving him time, you're giving him resources, and then you're seeing the benefits of that. But with Nathan Jones, can you see why he was able to at least get to that level?
100%. You knew from when I was playing with him, when I was playing under him, in the under 21s at Charlton. I think that age group, I think we were a squad of 18, 19. I think about 11, 12 of us made it as a professional. Maybe not at Charlton, but some players higher, some players in and around like that kind of level. You could tell he had a knack with getting the best out of players. Do you know what I mean? Like you bought into his ideas. Sometimes there could be something you'd never do before, or something that at the time you maybe not have agreed with, but you tried it, and you tried it to the best of your abilities, and you had that about him. Do you know what I mean? So there's no doubt you could tell that he had the potential at that time for sure. That's why for me personally, there was no surprise when he kind of like got the jobs that he did, went to Luton, was a success. Do you know what I mean? Even after the Stoke job, he lost that, going back to Luton, there was no doubt that he was going to be successful when he done it again. Do you know what I mean? Hence why I said to you at the start of the pod, like, if you got the right attitude and the right mindset, you learn from the fullbacks and you come again stronger, which obviously he proved that he did.
Yeah. He was a massive part of you going to Stoke, obviously.
For sure.
So if Stoke had come in for you and he wasn't the manager, would it have been a harder decision to make?
I wouldn't say a hard decision to make, because Stoke are a massive club.
I'm going to get to that.
So, but it was easier to go there because obviously he knew me as a person, and still I'm fond of him now as a coach. But obviously then it was like he molded me into the player that allowed Chris Powell to look at me and think, I'm going to give him a chance in the first team. So I felt like things just fell in place.
Is that how you know Bennick?
And I know Bennick from the England under 16 days, from young, and obviously Bennick was back then he was like the number one striker in the country. Probably
at Stoke.
We were Stoke together. We crossed paths at Stoke as well.
Because the reason why I asked that is because he does not talk about Stoke.
Does he not?
He's not on it at all. He is not on it at all. So like, I've asked him on the pod, and sometimes on the pod, I hear that people don't want to talk. But then I know off the pod, we can have conversation.
Talk. He is
not on it whatsoever. The most he'll say is like, it just didn't. I don't know.
Didn't work out. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Everyone has their own perceptions of what happens with them personally. Do you know what I mean?
No, but it's not even like a personal thing. It's just that he just doesn't. I feel like he just doesn't understand what went wrong. Yeah, because I'm going back to ask you now. Like, what do you think went wrong or wasn't right with certain things at Stoke? Not the club itself, but just that time.
I think, you know what? Yeah, I think people have, like, outside people have mad perceptions of Stoke, you know, because I get all the time, like, people are like, oh, what was the changing room like? Like, was the changing room this and was the changing room that? And I'm like, I don't know if I'm blind to a lot of things, but like, it was like, for me, it was fine. Yeah, you had big names in there. You had like, but people was like, were they big time? Were their egos? Did people not work hard? Was there this? Was there that? Yeah, like in any change room, you get players that were there for themselves in some ways. But sometimes you need that. Obviously, we're in an environment where everyone wants to play, everyone wants to showcase themselves and stuff like that. And if that's not happening, obviously there's going to be friction. But I wouldn't say like it was a bad changing room and there was this player and that was that player. Do you know what I mean? Like for me personally, it was a different kind of change room because I hadn't been surrounded by so many like, let's say players with Premier League experience. Do you know what I mean? And you could tell, like, you could get a kind of feeling that some players were there and they were like, they probably wanted to play it at a lot higher level. That's probably something I could say. Do you know what I mean? But it was never a thing where they wouldn't try or do you know what I mean? There'll be like bad people and stuff like that. So yeah, like maybe when I left or maybe before I came, do you know what I mean? But to me personally, as a person, when I would interact with people and like speak to players like Ryan Shawcross, Joe Allen, like Sam Vokes, great,
Jordan,
great people,
Jordan's
great people.
Such a good player, you know?
Yeah, such a good player and great people. Do you know what I mean? There's like, even I knew Bennett from before, but Bennett, great person. Do you know what I mean? You know, so it's like, and these players, big Premier League experience. Do you know what I mean? They've earned a lot of money. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I find it like I don't avoid the question when it comes to talking about the environment at Stoke, but it just confuses me that like I feel like a majority of the outside perception, people have that kind of like I said, perception of the change room and of the players.
Do you know, I don't think it's so much the change room. I think it's when I think of Championship football, I think of there's going to be certain teams that are going to be up near the top.
Yeah.
And Stoke is one of them. Like when you think of Championship football, because obviously the Premier League, and, like, they're just up there, and like, you just think of them. So when you see them not performing well in the Championship, it's like, right, what's going on here? Especially when you look at, okay, so Stoke's also one of them teams, especially when they went down, who have, like you said, Premier League quality players in their team as well. So I think it's things like that, because people that don't really watch football, that Championship football, they're most likely going to know the teams that have been in the Premier League.
Of course.
Norwich.
Of course.
They're going to know like Pookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so they're going to know that. So they're naturally just going to go to Stoke. Or Stoke are just going to come back up or be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So when they're not doing well, I think it's a thing of like, what's going on? And then you have players who are good players playing for them. So I think it's more that. Like, I think they probably have this expectation.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, the year before I came, I think they spent a lot of money thinking that they would just obviously bounce back to the Premier League. But as many teams that come down from the Premier League find out, it's tough. I think only like I think the team that done it the best was probably Newcastle that I saw. I think when I was Benitez. When I was at QPR at the time, and that was probably one of the hardest games I've played in personally. When I think they came to Loftus Road and beat us quite comfortably, but they did it where they took a majority of their squad from the Premier League down to the Championship, and then they bounced straight back up. They walked the Championship that year. They had Benitez, exactly. Do you know what I mean? They had obviously a well experienced coach. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, a lot of teams try and do that. They try and spend money in the Championship, but it's different. It's a different intensity. It's a different. Like I see it all the time. Just sometimes I think in the Premier League teams give each other a lot more respect. So they give like the centre backs time on the ball. Whereas in the Championship, it happens sometimes, but whereas a certain centre back in the Premier League is used to having a bit more time and being comfortable on the ball, they get pressed seriously in the Championship and they don't have that time. Do you know what I mean? So that's just like just maybe like one component where it might be a bit different to certain players.
You see that though when like in like FA Cup games when the Championship teams or League One are playing against Premier, and it's like they're not used to the defenders. Like they're just not used to man just pushing themselves up on them and the elbows and
because it's different. It's different. Do you know what I mean? It's a different, and you got to think as well when like a big team comes down from the Premier League, and let's say a team comes up from League One, promoted to the Championship, they're thinking, think about when Newcastle, I'm going to St James's Park. Do you know what I mean? I was used to watching this team play a match of the day most weeks. Now I'm playing against this team. So mentally, they're going to have that bit of an edge. Even though they probably should have the edge in every game. You're turning up to St James's Park, you're seeing it, you're thinking, the fans are crazy, atmosphere's 50,000 people. Do you know what I mean? So again, the game's going to be that little bit harder than it would be if it was somebody else.
Yeah,
So
I hear that. Another one of your managers, Polo Torre. As an Arsenal fan, like it hurt me seeing that one.
Yeah.
It's not even the fact that he lost his job. It's not even that. It's the manner. Do you know? You know, if he'd had like a year. But I think because what was that? 2 months.
I'm not sure exactly. Probably around that. Yeah.
It was a short time, and when I saw that, and I saw how people were just rubbishing him off. I was just like, nah.
See, the maddest thing is I wouldn't have seen all of that, to be honest. I wouldn't have, because I'm not too heavy on the social media side of things, so I don't really read that kind of stuff. But I imagine it would have been bad. Do you know what I mean?
Nah, it was bad.
I can imagine, but it's a results business, and like I said, as a person, and a character, amazing.
But this is the thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's a great person.
Yeah.
Do you think if he was given the time, things, because you were in it, so things would have turned around?
Potentially, because he was trying to. I think the key thing for me was probably the things he was trying to implement. We didn't have the right type of player or squad to implement it as quick as he wanted it to be implemented. Does that make sense? Whereas if he had a different profile of player in certain positions, then maybe it would have happened a lot quicker. Because in terms of performances and results, some performances were good and you could see signs of improvement, but the results just maybe wasn't coming.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And like I said to you before, we're in a results business and we weren't doing well in that league. So obviously the owners are thinking, we need to change something now. Do you know what I mean? So, and unfortunately he was the victim of that. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, as a person and as someone who tried to come in and do something, that you couldn't fault him at all.
Okay. I hope he gets another job.
Yeah.
I would hate for that to be his.
Yeah, like I said, I think, and like I've said to you many times on the pod as it is, I think he would have learnt from that for sure, and hopefully he can obviously come back and be better from it.
All right, cool. So one thing I'm going to ask you about now, because we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes. One thing I'm going to ask you about is in the press recently. So obviously Arsenal played United over the weekend.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, do I watch football? I watch like the big games. I won't say like I watch every piece of football that's on the TV.
You don't watch Burnley of it.
No, but I'm an Arsenal supporter, but I'm an Arsenal supporter, like a quiet one. Because like I feel like my heart's just been broken so many times in the past from Arsenal and stuff. Like I've got my hopes up and things. Even when Arsenal were obviously at the top of the table, like last year, there was a physio at Wigan who's a diehard Arsenal fan. He used to get excited every morning, like, Jordan, it's gonna be our year. It's gonna be our year. And I used to beat him like, I used to go Potsy, just calm, please, calm, please, because I don't want to get you up there, and then it just send you crashing. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, what happened. So I knew it was the right thing just to
That's it. No, 100%. That was my stance last
year. For sure.
It's that whole one game at a time.
Yeah.
And I always used to say that if any other team apart from City was chasing us, I would have been like,
we'll be alright.
Because it was City,
yeah.
I was like, but you enjoyed the game over the weekend.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. Do you know what it was as well? Like, you can tell I'm an Arsenal fan. Like when Garnacho scored his goal. No, this is what happened. Garnacho scored the goal. Obviously I saw it got ruled VAR obviously thing. I was happy about that, and then I turned it off. And then I looked on my Sky Sports app and I see Rice celebrating. I said, what? So I looked on the Sky app and said 3-1. I said, no way.
Yeah.
I said, no way. Yeah. So I actually missed it because like me, I don't like to see my team. Like I'm one of them. I say I'm a quite Arsenal fan, but if Arsenal lose on a Saturday, I'm not trying to watch Match of the Day.
Oh no, yeah.
I'm not trying to watch.
I didn't watch Match of the Day for like a year.
I'm not trying to watch Match of the Day. So when I saw that, I was gutted because it would have been amazing to watch live. But like, yeah, I was just, I think I'm just still in that mindset of like, do Arsenal have it in them to do stuff like what they did. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still kind of turning with the times.
Yeah, this is where I'm at with it, man. Like, we've got a good team, but I look at it and I'm like, have they got enough to go through the whole season with Champions League? Are City gonna be City? I don't know. There's too many variables.
Yeah,
so
there
I
is.
can't
There
do
is.
anything apart
There is.
from
Game by game. Yeah.
But what I do want to say, as a midfielder, when you look at like Declan Rice,
Yes.
what do you think?
I think he's one of them people, one of them players that are probably, to the naked eye, probably, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't do much. But to someone that knows football, unbelievable talent, unbelievable player. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, like, again, let me just go a bit off script. People don't realize that's, to do the things consistently, that's what takes you to the top level. So he'll be doing things like, to the naked eye, it look very simple, but he does it consistently without fail. Do you get what I'm saying? But again, like I said, I watched it. To be fair, I went to go and watch the. I've got a close friend who plays for Crystal Palace, and I went to go watch the Palace Arsenal game. So I was able to watch him live. He's a good player. He's a very good player, and people, not good player, excellent player. And to settle in the way he has at Arsenal so quickly, like, people shouldn't, like I said, turn their nose up at him. Do you know what I mean? And people talk about the price tag and things like that. But like I said, as a midfielder as well, and people don't forget, like, West Ham style of football is totally different to Arsenal style of football. So some players, it might take them months to kind of adjust, if that makes sense. But no, just like I said, just watching him play live against Palace, and he was probably playing in a kind of different way he was playing to he was at West Ham, and he just kind of molded into, do you know what I mean, like breaking forward a bit more, do you know what I mean, like, and even the things, like, even something I noticed that probably people don't realize as well is that he breaks up the play a lot,
bro.
And well, yeah.
You know, there was these two challenges he put in, where he was just, there was one on Casemiro, he was just onto it, boom, one complete, and we're gone.
Yes,
and I was like, do you know what?
Yeah, people just think, people probably look at that and think, oh, it's just a like tackle and things like that. Bro. But you're thinking about, look who you just mentioned, Casemiro.
Bro,
you're thinking,
bro. When I saw it, and it was one way. It was just, it was the region of the game. It was the ability to think, but it was, outside of that, it was his ability to get up and then play a forward pass with quality. Bro, I was looking, I was just like, this guy, he's too good. And you know what?
Yeah.
What's mad, yeah? And I'm gonna cast Declan Rice because they'll get onto me in the comments. But what's mad is that I look at Declan Rice, and you know, it's still mad to me that he plays for Arsenal.
Why?
I'm not used to Arsenal buying that caliber of player, like, over recent years. And
what do you mean, that caliber player? For the price or the player itself?
Number one, the price. Number two, a player that everyone wants.
Yeah.
You know, a player that everyone wants.
Yeah,
they don't come to Arsenal recently.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
Do you
by
get
that.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So like, once I saw City were in for him,
you thought it was done.
You know, at no point other than when he came was he linked to Arsenal. He was linked to Chelsea, United, City. Yeah. When I heard Arsenal, I was just like, he ain't coming. So the fact that he actually plays for us, and he's that good, bro, I'm on the move with that. But yes, what I want to say, the fallout from that game is when Ten Hag called out Sancho.
Okay, yeah.
Training.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Sancho's obviously come back and
so I saw. I've listened to a bit of it on Talk Sport.
So he said what he said. He put a little thing out saying he's not going to be a scapegoat and trains hard. He wants to do his best. Cool. I haven't liked how people have spoken about Sancho in that moment. Number one, I didn't like what Ten Hag did. Yeah. I didn't like that it's now become a thing of Sancho is
a bad egg. Yeah.
And everything. And people are talking about he shouldn't even reply. And you as a player, I want to ask you, if your manager comes out and says you're not doing well in training, and whatnot, would you reply to that?
Would I reply personally? No. Because managers, you got to think about it. Managers use different methods to get the best out of players. And he might have been thinking in that moment, I might need to say something publicly because maybe that may get a reaction out of the player. Maybe not. But to the player's defense, I can understand how that might have triggered him to post what he posts. Do you get what I'm saying? Because if he genuinely feels that wronged by what he was saying and by what the manager said publicly was wrong, then he may have felt just for him personally, he needed to let people know. And you got to think this is different. This is not someone who is followed by a few people. He's followed by millions of people. Do you get what I'm saying? So he wanted to obviously say his part and obviously try and, like I said, just get what he needed to get off the chest. Because there's no doubt that, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but that post is probably not there now. If it was a post, that's probably not there now. Do you know what I mean? But at the time, he felt like he needed to, like I said, defend himself in the sort of way to just obviously let him say his truth. Now, behind closed doors now this week, I don't know what would frank conversations would definitely be had, and there would definitely be a conversation between him and the manager. But whether that's obviously in the public knowledge, no one will know. Do you know what I mean? Until the next manager's press conference, which obviously a question is going to be asked about him.
Yeah.
So
I think the reason why I had a problem with it as well is because you're not doing it with a player that's been playing well and whatever. From when Sancho's, his time at Man United, it's been a struggle. Yeah, we haven't actually seen the best of him. I think by doing that, now the narrative is like, he hasn't been playing well anyway. So he's a bad egg and blah blah blah. And I just feel like there should be a responsibility on managers to just kind of read the room a bit. Like Mourinho did it with Shaw one time. Yeah, and the difference with Shaw is that Shaw hadn't had a bad time overall at United. Yeah.
How did Shaw come out at the end of that one though?
No, Shaw's ended up playing well.
Yeah.
No. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Did he continue to have bad form after that, or did he come out the other side? That's what I'm trying to.
He came out the other side.
Yeah.
He came out the other side, but I feel. But even when Mourinho did it with Shaw, he was saying that when Shaw plays, he has to. I get the best out of him when he's playing on my side. When he's on the other side of the pitch, blah blah blah. It wasn't a thing of like, his standards haven't been. Yeah, I mean, he questioned that, and I just feel there should be more of a responsibility when it comes to managers to like read the room a bit and whatever, and I don't feel like Sancho was wrong especially if it feels like he has been scapegoated. And then you're looking at the players who are in front of him and whatever. Yeah, it's like I said,
it's a tricky one. It's definitely it's not a straightforward answer because, like I said, we're from the outside looking in. We do not know what's going on in training. We do not know what kind of communication these guys are having. You know what I mean? So, we can make a judgment, but it's a judgment off of what truth? Because we don't know what's going on. We don't know what conversation they've had together in Ten Hag's office or anything like that. So we're just basically, our opinions are not of any truth. The only people that know is the two guys, like, is the manager and the player, and possibly maybe the teammates who are in and around, but maybe not even them, because I'm sure these two individuals would have had a conversation. Do you know what I mean? Behind closed doors. So, and they, like I said, they're gonna have that conversation pretty soon, if not had it already. To obviously see how things go forward. But like I said, this is the time we're in with media and XYZ. People are gonna have their opinions and what's wrong, what's right, and I don't like the negativity that obviously is going to go around Sancho now because, like I said, I'm a footballer myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I see deeper than the player itself and the job of football. He's got a family. Do you know what I mean? He may have, I don't know if he has kids or not, but like he has a mum and a dad who's looking at these things that people are posting and saying. Do you know what I mean? So I see it from a deeper point of view than most would.
I think that's why I take the stance that I do. Because I'm a man that's never going to call. Like, you'll never see me. I might not think the players.
Good. You're entitled to opinion as well.
I'm never gonna come and say this is rubbish. You don't hear me.
Facts.
I've got players I'm not having.
For real.
Like Anthony, I'm not having him.
Anthony, okay, cool.
I'm not having him. But I'm not having him not because I don't think he's got.
For sure.
I just think he's extremely.
But you have to. I think you're allowed that, but I think you have to have respect.
No, and
you have to have respect.
Yes.
For sure.
And that's why I will never come and be like he's rubbish.
And that's what I can't like. For me personally, as a person. Like, it irks me when people do that. Like, it doesn't. It can be like a a casual fan, it can be a person, but when someone like slates a player, like it really like makes me feel a type of way, because like I'm thinking like for the player to even get to that position, there's been some sort of like you don't get to play, whether it be, must be an important call. That's cool. You don't get to play, not even Premier League, it speaks for itself, but you don't get to be a professional footballer without some sort of sacrifice. It doesn't happen through luck.
Yeah.
So anyone like I said, you have to have the respect. Do you know what I mean? Like a player might not be, you might not fancy them, or they might have an off day, or they might not just be a type of player that you like to watch, but you have to have respect for, because when you look at the numbers when it comes to people that actually make it as a professional, like it's crazy. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you can have your opinion on a player you might not fancy or has had a bad game, but you have to have a certain amount of respect for footballers and what they do for sure.
No, and I think that's why, before we ran out, I think that's why I struggle to have casual conversations sometimes, because I look at things from the perspective of like a player. I look at, and I might not have played Premier League football, but I've played. So like I just know what it takes to be in certain situations. Yeah. Like I saw something the other day where Fabio Vieira came on in the last game.
Yes.
We played someone.
United?
No. He came on and he made a difference. Who did we draw to?
Fulham? No, Fulham?
I think it was
Fulham, yeah.
He came on, changed the game. Cool. The very next day, there was a clip going around of a guy saying, I need Fabio Vieira in the team. He's much better than Odegaard. Odegaard is not good enough. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. Number one, you can't. For me personally, you can't talk down on Odegaard as a player. You can say I want a bit more from him. Or what. Cool, 100% do all that. But you're not going to come and say he's not good enough. He's not doing.
Yeah, they could go personal.
Yeah, it's mad. That's mad.
Yeah.
But then also, if you've played the game, you'd also know that you understand that squads are there. Like Fabio Vieira's come on, he's done his job. Yeah, he's made an impact, which is what you want to do. You don't have to now then go and be like, he's better than this person. Yeah, I just I lose my head when I see that sort of stuff. And it's always the people that have no avatar on. They have the
knowledge, but like you say that, but like sometimes that's what makes football the entertainment and the way it is. Do you know what I mean? The passion and the passion and the rawness of someone that might not obviously know. But like I said, like I keep saying, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and it might not be the opinion that you agree with, but that's what they wholeheartedly think. So it's up to you as a person how you receive that opinion.
I don't receive it. I don't like getting drawn out. I like balance. I don't know everything about football. I can chat to.
I play football and I don't either.
You see what I'm saying? I can chat to certain man and they'll school me, be like, nah, this is why.
Okay,
so there was. I used to feel the same way about Henderson. I used to be like, what
Henderson?
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
My guy, Michael Spence, said to me one time, he was just like, because he manages now. He's actually gone to Charlton under 16.
Oh, really?
Just got that
job
last week or the week before. But when he became a manager, he was managing non-league at Waltham Abbey. We used to go about, and I used to be, I'm not going to say he's rubbish, but I don't understand the Henderson thing. And he said, you know what? He used to be like that, but now that he's a manager,
he gets it.
He needs players like Henderson. And you know when he said that to me, and this is someone who's I respect his. When he said that to me, I was just like, I started looking at things differently. Looking at things differently, and I was just like, do you know what? I understand it. Like sometimes it's not always about the player with the most ability, that can do the most tricks or with the mad tech. Sometimes it's about players that can almost implement what the coach wants on the pitch and just raise the level. Because I used to see Henderson and be like, he understands what the manager wants from him. And when he's playing, the tempo is at one different. Point in Liverpool. Not before he left. And I was just like, I hear it. So I can be schooled because I don't know everything like I say, but
and he like I don't know him personally, or I've never been in a change room with him, but just from the outside looking in, I feel like a person of that character has a huge influence on how other people may play around him. Do you know what I mean? Because I felt like just watching him play and watching it like just casually on a match of the day, whatever it is, I feel like he's the type of player that there's like, how'd I put it? He has no like shame in shouting at Salah to say, do this or do that. No, but do you get what I'm saying? Whereas some players might be like, oh, I can't tell him that. He expects a certain standard. And I think a player like Salah or the best players respect that and be like, do you know what I'm saying? There's no way that you could compare them in terms of technical ability and players, but you need them kind of people in your team because sometimes you may be having an off game and you need that person in your team to be like, come on, Jordan. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, like, and he's that person. So he, like I said, he may not be the most nicest to watch or whatever you may put, but you need people like that in your team because he makes the people around him better by having that kind of leadership skills.
And the maddest thing is that players like Salah, whenever they talk about players like Jordan Henderson, it's the highest praise.
Exactly.
It's the highest praise.
Exactly.
But yeah, oh no, quick one before I wrap up actually. Has it surprised you, that I don't know if there's reasoning behind it or what, in terms of your career. Has it surprised you that you maybe haven't played for Jamaica more?
That's a tricky one, That's a tricky one. The Jamaican national teams it's a weird one. It's a weird one because I feel like now things are a lot different to what they were back in the day. I think now there's a certain standard that they're not falling below. Let's put it that way. They're doing things properly. Yeah. Like when I say properly, I mean like mirroring the standards that you'd get every day going into a normal football club. Whereas I feel like before it wasn't like that. So me personally, I felt like if I was going before, I might have been putting my health on the line in terms of the way things were done, whether that be food, whether that be recovery, whether that be travel, whether that be X, whether that be Y. Whereas I think now, things are a lot different, and I think things are improving around. I think they've gotten like a good manager, and the things from above down are done a lot better. Hence why you'll probably see in the next few years, the results will pick up, the performances will pick up. There'll be more continuity in the team and things like that. But just for me back then, it just wasn't. I just didn't feel like I said, I love my country. I've got the passport and all them things. But I just thought, just where I was at the time in my career, I just felt like I don't think I could afford to go into that environment because I'd spoken to players that had been, do you know what I mean? And they used to tell me things about like certain things that used to go on, and I just think it just wasn't something that I was willing to obviously leave.
Would you still want to play for them?
Yeah, I would now because I believe things are a lot better now. I think things are done more professionally, and I think they've changed a few roles in the senior positions. So I think, like I said, performance. I still like check on the results and stuff and the squads and whatever, and the performances look good. So I definitely know things in house are changing. So I'd never obviously turn down. Like I said, it wasn't a case where I got called up and I turned it down. Do you know what I mean? But I think with like a Jamaican thing, you've kind of got to show interest to want to go, and then obviously things happen through your performances.
Cool. Well, I hope you've enjoyed coming on the
I have, man. I enjoy these things, man. I think it's I don't speak much. Do you know what I mean? I don't come out much. Like I said, I'm not heavy on the social media and things like that. So I believe it's important that obviously you speak up and be as like I said to you, like you can ask me anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like it's been scripted or anything. I knew the questions you was gonna ask me. I'm just trying to answer them as honestly as possible, man. So
No, and it's good, man. I think this is just another example of what I'm trying to do in regards to just bridging the gap between player and fans, and just also just letting people see like who the real person is.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes players can come across as robots.
100%. No, it is.
It's good to let people actually see, man. I'm glad you've enjoyed it, man.
No, it's been good, man. Appreciate it.
But so guys, get in the comments. Let me know what you thought of the pod. Let Jordan know how rubbish he is. No, I'm joking. I'm playing. But just let me know, and just make sure you press that subscribe button, and let me know who else you want me to get on, man. So that's it, guys. We're out.